Hey everybody. To answer these few questions that we've set up for this webinar, how did I get started? Getting started with the mini was pretty straightforward. I was a little intimidated by it, but when we started the seeds themselves, Em and I were in the office. We relied heavily on the quick start guide, and we planted the seeds together, and then she took over the germination process. She had it in a germination tray, most of the seeds, all the seeds, and then we had them placed in the lab unit, and she took on the task of keeping the seeds, wet with a spray bottle. And then once I took on the seeds after they had sprouted, then I did the water, nutrients, and planting them in the mini unit. But using the quick start guide and the curriculum, the support materials, it's pretty straightforward for teachers and students. I wouldn't be intimidated at all by it if I did it again. Real straightforward. What did I do to keep the plants happy? I didn't, I guess I do sing to the plants a little bit, but besides that, just checking the nutrients, the EC and the pH levels, and then making sure the water level is high enough. One weekend I did leave. Kim and I, my wife and I left for the weekend, and there was a scummy after the plants had grown up quite high. There was a little scummy line on the inside of the tank. You can see the water level. Well, that scummy line, it looked like the water line, so we left. I thought the tank was full, and when we came back, the unit was low on water. But it's fine because the units, they're set up so if the water does drop below a certain level, it does tell you. So keeping enough water in there is straightforward. Just so then it comes down to just checking the nutrients, that, well, making sure there's enough nutrients in the water, and then checking those other levels like pH and EC. Lastly, how did the harvest go? Well, I think it's cool. If I would do it again, I would kind of plan out, what do I want to grow? For teachers and students, you might want to come up with a healthy recipe that is kind of laid out as far as what you're growing. What are you going to use these plants for? Knowing what you're growing and knowing what you're going to cook at the end. What we did harvest, what I harvested here, was dill and lemon basil. When I did harvest, like my wife and I, we made pickled beets with the dill, and then with the basil, lemon basil, we made pesto, and then we put that on a pizza. And I don't know if I would recommend lemon basil pesto on a pizza. I don't think I would. It was fine. It wasn't too bad, but I'm used to just regular basil in my pesto. I did have some failures with the oregano, so I transplanted and put in new lettuces and kale. And then my rosemary was lagging behind. It didn't. I think it's probably ready to harvest now, but I didn't harvest any rosemary either. So all in all, coming up with that menu for teachers and students, and then planting something that you want to eat. First of all, experimenting with growing different things, but coming up with that menu. What are you gonna use this stuff for when it's time to harvest? But all in all, it was a lot of fun.